Hello, and thank you for tuning into the Stuff I Heard podcast. I am your host, Joshua Peak. How's everybody doing? Everybody have a good 4th of July? We get to celebrate our nation's independence, and apparently fireworks were shot off a lot around my house because it was very loud. uh, it's one of those things where if I have the day off, I enjoy seeing fireworks. I mean, sure, who doesn't, right? But I had to work the next day super early. I had to get up at like 2:30 in the morning, and it is very difficult to sleep when fireworks are going off around your house. Let's just be honest. So, um, it's it's been a struggle all week to get my sleep re I don't know recharged. I guess you'd say. Typically we need 6 to 8 hours sleep. Most people need 6 to 8 hours sleep. Some people need less. Some people need more. But 6 to 8 hours is generally what I'm shooting for nowadays. And yeah, when that gets disturbed in the middle of the night because people are shooting off fireworks around your house, it gets a little difficult. But anyway, I survived, as we all do, and we move forward and we learn and we grow, right? The more you know, the more you grow. Um, so growing up, I was, I guess, in the country a good bit with my grandparents. We lived around a lake, and there was not any fireworks that went off very much because people didn't have that kind of income to go and buy fireworks to shoot off. And growing up, it seemed extremely wasteful to me once I had my own grown up money to go buy things that I was going to set on fire. I was like, isn't this just the same as me setting my money on fire? And for what level of entertainment? Because I can rationalize it and go, no, this is the price that I'm paying so that I have a good time looking at things going up, going off and exploding. The sound, the sights, the beauty of it, whatever. I do remember being a kid and my uncle coming over with Roman candles, and we would shoot Roman candles, and you'd light one end of the stick and you'd hold it out and it'd shoot off the, you know, flaming balls of fire that were colorful, and it was wonderful until it went bad. Because we've all got a story of handling fireworks where something went wrong. In my case, I'm holding it, things are going off, and all of a sudden I hear something. I go, well, that doesn't sound normal. And it kind of went off in my hand and it burned my hand. And I ended up running to my mom and, oh, my hand. Oh. And between a neighbor and my uncle and my mom, they soaked my hand in butter. And I thought, butter? Okay. It worked. I don't know if that was the right thing to do. Obviously, we learn from our mistakes as we get older, and probably wasn't the right thing to do, but I mean, it didn't leave a scar or anything, and I'm fine now. It's just something that happened when you're younger. That's the incredible thing about being young is you can make horrific mistakes physically, and a lot of times you can bounce back from it. But especially being in the 70s, like nobody really knew what to do in that kind of scenario. So, yeah, having kids, I felt it was like my responsibility to have them exposed to some fireworks. So there were times where I would buy the big pack for, what I considered a lot of money, about $100 worth of fireworks. Especially when I was struggling to keep us afloat with food and electricity and that sort of thing. And oh yeah, now I'm going to spend $100 just to set on fire. That was my mentality the whole time. Like, oh geez, I can't believe I'm doing this. But also, I didn't want to deprive my kids of the experience of seeing the fireworks. And there wasn't a lot of fireworks shows around here back then. Um, I was able to take them to. We have a NASCAR track near here, that Darlington Raceway. That one year in particular, we went and were able to see them parking across the street. We could watch them, and it was like, oh wow, this is really pretty. They did a good job. Or we have a Legion Stadium here where we have a baseball team called the Red Wolves used to play. I remember going there and seeing fireworks around the 4th of July, around Independence Day, and that was always pretty. But, you know, nowadays, I seem to be in a neighborhood where these cul-de-sacs that are around us, they really enjoy shooting off fireworks and they pool their money together and they put on a show. And it's almost like each section of the cul-de-sac is trying to outdo each other, setting off fireworks. And yeah, it went on for a long time. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I like seeing them at Disney World. I like seeing them when they're professionally done. We have a baseball team in Florence now called the Florence Flamingos. And if you check on their website for when they do fireworks, it is apparently a really good show. I was not able to stay awake long enough to watch it the last time we did it. I left early and my wife stayed, and she said it was really fantastic. So if you're in the Florence, South Carolina area, and you want to see some fireworks around this time of the year, check out the Flamingos and find out when they're doing fireworks and go to a show. Because apparently they did a big one for 4th of July, and I heard a lot of people talking about it. So, but yeah, for me and the kids, setting them off and stuff, it was kind of exciting, but also like once I did it, I thought, yeah, I really don't see me doing this again, and I didn't. I haven't bought fireworks since then, and they were little. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like that saying of, is it better to have a boat or know a friend with a boat? Because it costs a lot to maintain the boat and put the boat in the water and register the boat and insure the boat and all that other stuff. And if you have a friend with a boat, you just make friends with a boat with a guy with a boat, and then you go with him on the boat or her, whichever the case may be, and you enjoy the boat life through them vicariously. Um, so fireworks, same kind of scenario. Um, we've had some friends that have come up at the last minute with a bunch of fireworks, and we've shot off fireworks and enjoyed them. Uh, so I mean, I'm not anti-firework. I'm just anti me spending money for them, if that makes any sense. So to all you out there who shoot off fireworks, great. I'm glad you guys are having a good time. I hope that you made it through the 4th with all your fingers and toes. You can still count to 10 on your hands. But yeah, that's just I don't know. It's just not for me. Just not for me. I don't know. It just seems wasteful. Now I don't want to poo-poo on anybody's parade if that's your thing, but whatever. So let's talk about Independence Day, because I've seen a lot of funny memes out there on the internet. The George Washington, "Hey England, have fun at work today on your July 4th." Because a lot of people get the holiday off. My wife got the day off. I did not, but I did get some extra pay for working during the holiday, which is nice. Um, but yeah, so um, to me, the holiday really didn't mean much until I was in the service. When I was in the Marine Corps, we did a lot of history about the United States and about our military and about what all this means. And it definitely has a different impact on you when you realize the cost of life that it took to get there. So it has more weight now. Anytime a holiday comes up where we're basically paying homage to the people who sacrificed their life so that we have the life we have now. And it should be that way. I mean, it should be that way no matter what. The sacrifices that were made were tremendous, to come out of control of one group of people to be independent upon yourselves as a country. And here in the United States, we enjoy this independence and we enjoy the fact that we have freedoms. Um, Although those freedoms are slowly being taken away in a way, in the name of your own safety, but also weirdly just being highly taxed again by our own people, which is depressing, but sort of the way life is right now. Now, the question is, will there come a time where we have to actually use our Second Amendment to once again gain control of our own country from people who have taxed us to death? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. Um, there does seem to be quite a separation of the have and the have nots. And there does seem to be a disassociation of the people who seem to be in charge and the people who want there to be some type of um, normalcy to the country. We have two people running for president right now who are both too old to do the job, in my opinion. Um, Two people who could be argued are criminals in their own right. Two people who should not hold the position, I think. Um, I think the popular vote right now is that Biden is too old to do the job and that Trump is too criminal for people to want to do the job. Um, You got Robert Kennedy Jr. running that most people don't even know he's running because the two-party system won't allow him to have a voice. During the debate, he held his own online debate because CNN wouldn't allow him to be on the ticket because they're scared to death of having a third party. The two party, as long as they have control, the Democrats and Republicans, they don't have to run the risk of losing. You can control the money if you can control the dialogue. And the dialogue is if they're losing, this is a statistic I've actually looked up because it was brought to my attention. I was like, that can't be real. In a situation where there is a party that is losing the candidacy, they can actually raise more money for their candidate, for their party than they can if they win. So, like if Biden loses, they'll actually be able to raise more money from their people, from constituents, from people who are listening right now, people who voted blue. They'll raise 10 times the amount of money from losing than they would if they lost or if they won. If they won, they don't make as much money for the next election. And they're weirdly not loyal to the party at all. They're loyal to the money. They're doing statistics much like Moneyball did, the Billy Beane story, where they're trying to figure out, how can we get the most bang for our buck because we want to put money in our pockets. So even the president themselves has very little control of whether or not they have the resources available to them to become president. And also, who wants to be president? What an egotistical thing. You want to be the person that everybody blames for their problems. I mean, yeah, vote for me. I'm the best candidate. I'll kiss your baby and hug your head and keep you safe and give you all your hopes and dreams. And then all of that's a lie. And then they get blamed for everything that's wrong. And it's just a popularity contest of the person who's going to be blamed for your problems. Because if things don't go your way, you're going to be, oh, it's because these people in charge. The president, he's garbage. I thought he was going to do this and he didn't do that. I've heard that my whole life. Now, I was having a conversation with somebody the other day. He was saying, the older I get, the less I want to vote. And I was like, well, they're kind of counting on that too. What you really hope for is that the dumbest, youngest portion of the population vote for you. The older people get, the more they realize that all of it is an illusion. Nobody cares. They just want to keep in office so that they can keep the money and keep making policy to make themselves more money. If you do a little digging, you find out that they're all trying to figure out how to inside trade on the stock market. They're all trying to figure out how to bend the rules so that they get extra money for themselves. You can see online what their job pays, but you can also see online what their net worth is, and it doesn't add up because it's money being handed to them by special interest groups. It's all corrupt. And yet we get so impassioned by it that we want to fight each other just because we might have a difference of opinion of who we think might be the best candidate for our interests. And none of it is the best interest. None of it is for what we want. You know, I've talked about it before. People got enraged about this wall they wanted to build. And then I watched a show called Adam Ruins Everything, and he talked about the wall and the cost of the wall and what it actually meant and how illegal immigration actually comes from 90% of the people fly here legally to visit family or to sightsee. And then some of them try to go home but can't because we've made rules that make it impossible for them to get back home. So they just stay because they have no other choice. Or they fly here and they go, oh, this is much better than my country where they're bombing each other or killing each other for stupid reasons. Let me just stay here and get a job. And they do. So they fly here legally and they stay. A wall does not help that. A wall is just a thing. Now, does it drum up a lot of feelings? Sure. Gets feelings involved, and feelings gets money involved, and money gets lost. I mean, you can say what you want. The money that you give for things doesn't go towards the thing you think it's going to go for. The money you give goes in people's pockets. The government themselves, they spend money for a thing. How much of that money goes towards the thing? Very little. Very little. All we need to do is give the illusion that we're doing the right thing, and then you won't question whether or not your money went there. Of course, even if you do question it, what are you going to do about it? They've already got your money. I don't know. I feel like I'm in this bad relationship with our country where I'm like, why would I want to give you money for anything if I didn't have to? I have to because there's taxes on everything. I can't get gas without taxes. I can't buy my food without taxes. I can't pay my mortgage without taxes. I can't do a lot of things without having to pay taxes. Can't go out to eat without paying taxes. Can't get my hair cut without paying taxes. For what? I mean, we have frivolous spending everywhere. We give money away to other countries because, I don't know, we have companies that are benefiting from it and then putting the money back in our pocket. It's like a money laundering system. I mean, Google that. Google Ukraine war money laundering and see what comes up. Just have fun with that little wormhole. That'll make you crazy. And yet we have a separation of the have and the have nots in this own country where we generationally put people in Section 8 housing where they never want to leave and they just want to just breathe off the government dime. That's not living. But we don't incentivize anybody to do better. Um, yeah, I don't know. Independence Day is one of those things where I am proud to be an American. I am reminded by the sacrifices that were given. I'm disheartened in where our country is leaning politically. I am hopeful for a lot of things. I'm hopeful that people listen to people like Robert Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and these Americans who are willing to say the truth. But I'm also disappointed that the average citizen doesn't listen or do homework or question the information they're given. They don't look out multiple sources. They just go, okay, my dad says I should vote for this person. I like that person. They say things that I think are cool. This is the movie Idiocracy we're living in. Um, smarter people are waiting later in life to have kids, and then they can't have kids, or they might have one kid. And the dumber people are just cranking out kids. So those kids are all going to listen to their dad or their mom tell them what they're going to do politically, and they're all going to vote for the coolest candidate. And in the movie Idiocracy, that candidate was a wrestling star, Terry Crews. Terry Crews plays the guy. It's hilarious. He talks like he's Macho Man Randy Savage, and he's the president because he's the coolest guy. Not the brightest guy, just the coolest guy. So I don't know. I usually don't talk about politics. There's a lot of reasons because people get all pissed off and you're an idiot, you're an asshole, blah blah blah, and they say all kind of stuff, and it's just rude. It's awful. Um, Rather than listening and asking questions and doing their own research, people just want to yell at each other. We don't have to do that. I got friends that vote all kinds of ways. I like having conversations with them about it. I like to know where their head's at. But there is a certain point where you go, okay, well, obviously I can tell that you are voting this way because your dad said you needed to, and you haven't actually looked up this information at all, or your favorite channel to watch is this channel, and this channel tells you all the bad things that are happening because of those people, and it turns into this us versus them type mentality, and it's not us versus them; it's us, U.S., us, the United States of America. We're all affected. We should all have a voice. We should all do our homework. We should all look at our own candidates. I know it surprises me every time I go to vote and I look on there and I realize that I don't know a lot of the people that are on the ballot. I have no idea who they are. I'm supposed to vote for one of them. Who do I pick? I don't hear anything about them. I don't know anything about the fact that they're running. I have no idea what their stances are. None. I might hear the people that are on the top billing, like the governor, a senator, the president, but then all these little smaller elections, that's where things get kind of squirrely. I don't know. If anybody out there has any effect on this, try to change it. I don't know. Give us more information. Give us access to more information. And in the meanwhile, I hope everybody had a good fourth and you made it out okay. And you're looking forward to the next day because there's always another day. There's always a time when we can change things. There's always time that we can affect change. There's times when we can talk to our youth about the fact of, hey, listen, I voted when I was your age, and I voted because of this dumb reason. I thought it was a good idea, and this is how it turned out. Encourage our youth to do more research. Encourage our youth to use the supercomputer that is sitting right in front of us. Many of you are listening to me right now on this awesome supercomputer of a phone that connects to everything and out and around the world, all the information you can find. All it takes is a little bit of digging, and you start learning more and more. There should be an encouragement to learn, not because it's a job like school. I think a lot of people get ingrained in the idea that school is a thing you just have to get through, and it is. But also, I think the job of schools is to encourage people to want to learn. The job of teachers is to help them want to learn. Unfortunately, bureaucrats get involved, and the No Child Left Behind portion of life gets in there, and it just makes kids dumber because it doesn't let them learn at their own pace. It doesn't encourage them to think creatively. It stifles creativity. Learn what we tell you, learn what we tell you, learn what we tell you. Okay, but also question things. Ask why. And if you don't get the answer, ask somewhere else why. I was taught if anything sounds too good to be true, it's not true. If somebody promises you crazy stuff, it's probably crazy stuff. There's a podcast called Time Suck. I've talked about it many times. A lot of his episodes are about cults because people are willing to follow anything that sounds like something they think is cool. This guy tells me the Bible says this, and then next thing you know, they're doing awful things to kids and losing all of their money and getting murdered and displaced and alienated from their families. And yeah, so be careful of cults. Enjoy Time Suck. Tell them stuff I heard sent you. 3 out of 5 stars wouldn't change a thing. Yeah. So, all right, that's it. I'm done talking. I just wanted to give my 2 cents worth about the 4th of July. Yeah. Happy Independence Day. So, till next time, y'all stay care. That doesn't make any. Y'all take care. Thanks for listening, and as always, cue the cow.
Cue the cow. Moo, baby.